I am Sir Jonathan. I am teacher of biology, and today I want to study with you or to continue with your biology subject. And today we are going to see the measurement. And this in measurement, as we said in the scientific process, for the last period we said there are 3 things to keep in doing the scientific process. The first is observation, the second is measurement, and the third we are going to see what is said. So all in all, we said there is observation, measurement, and the experimentation. So it's what 3 basic things to care when you are doing the scientific process. So now let's proceed with the measurement. We say though we can use our sense organ to make observation, the observation alone are not reliable. Every sense organ has its weakness. So we say by doing the scientific process is not only taking the observation is enough, but you can take the other ways, such as to do the measurement, because sometimes the sense organ are not reliable for everything, because this observation is done under sense organ. So sometimes sense organ are not reliable, so we must use measurement to prove the observation. That's why we say every sense organ has its weakness. So that observation can be, you can observe something but cannot be reliable for 100%. So there is measurement can be done so as to prove the rightness of the observation from the sense organ. So we say, since science lies upon measurable quantities, there is need of measurement. So since science lies upon measurable quantities, there is need of measurement. Scientists have been able to design ways to take measurement of various things. So that's how we can see some of the quantities which can successfully be measured include. So there are some of quantities which successfully be measured include the mass, temperature, length, and piezo rate. So these are the sum of quantities which can be measured, or these are the measurable quantities so as to prove the observation from the sense organ. And this we say measurable of length, we can use eyes to observe the length of various objects. However, our eyes can just tell which object is longer than the other, but cannot tell us what the exact length of each object is. As we see that in observation, we all see to observe. For example, through the eyes, you can see something. As you can see the length. You can see something is longer than other, but you cannot know what the exactly length of that things. So that's why we are doing the measurement after observation. You can see this thing is bigger than other, but you cannot know the exact size of that things. That's why we say observation only is not enough, but there is need of measurement so as to prove that thing, or to prove that observation, or to give the exact answers of that observations. Tape measure is one of the common instruments that are used for measuring lengths. So tape measure is among of the things, or the amount of instrument used for measuring length. So through measuring length can give the exact length or the exact long of the things which you observed or you have seen. In our everyday life, they measure an instrument for measuring length. Measurement of mass. A scientist or biologist must have a standard way of measuring mass of substance. So there is, after looking this length, now we are going to see the measurement of mass, because here we have seen the measurement of length. So now we are going to see the measurement of mass. We say the measurement of mass. Here you can see something is very weightier than other, but you cannot know what the exact weight of that thing. That's why we are doing the measurement. We say a scientist or biologist must have a standard way of measuring mass of substance. Sense organs cannot give us the true value of mass of substance. That's why the thing that you have already talked, that the sense organ, such as eye, the work is to see, can see something is bigger than other, but cannot give the little weight of that things. That's why we need to do the measurement, so as to get the correct answers or the correct quantities of that we have observed. This can be done by using beam balance, which is a special instrument for measuring. So this mass, to know the exact mass, the exact weight of the mass, we can use beam balance. We can use beam balance. We can use beam balance to get the exact the weight of the substance. So this beam balance, which is a special instrument for measuring mass of a substance. Measurement of temperature. We can take the measurement of a temperature of a substance just by using our sense organs. For example, by touching something, we can tell whether a particular thing is or not cold. So sometimes after looking this measurement of mass, now we are going to see the measurement of temperature. And this temperature and mass and the length, those are measurable quantities. So the measurement of temperature, we say we can take the measurement of temperature of a substance by just using sense organ. So sometimes you can take the temperature, you can feel the temperature. It is cold, it is hotness, but that you feel through the skin. You cannot know the degree of coldness, and you cannot know the degree of the hotness. So what we do so as to know the degree of coldness and hotness that you feel is all about doing the measurement. So that's why we call the measurement of temperature. So we say, for example, by touching something, you can tell whether a particular thing is not or is cold. So by touching something through the sense organ, which is skin, you can describe something is cold or is not cold. But you cannot know the degree of that coldness or that which is not coldness. That's why we say you cannot tell exact temperature of an object. Therefore, to be able to know the exact temperature, you need to use an instrument specially designed for measuring the temperature. So, to know the exactly correct of the degree of the measurable thing through the temperature, you need to have the special or specific instrument which is designed for measuring the temperature. this is instrument is the thermometer. So this instrument which is used to measure the degree or to measure the temperature is called the thermometer. Using thermometer, we are able to know the exact temperature of an object. So by using thermometer, you can know what the exact temperature of the subject. After that, we are going to see the measurement of pulse rate. After looking the measurement of temperature, now we are going to see the measurement of pulse rate. We say pulse rate refers to the average beating of your heart. This is the pulse rate. Is the average beating of your heart. We know everybody has heart. As human being, you have heart, or you should having heart, because is the point which is pumping the blood pressure. So as you know, the heart, it is pumping the blood pressure, so there is beating there to the heart, or inside of the heart, or in heart there is pumping of blood pressure, or there is beating of heart, slow the pumping the blood pressure. So this pulse rate refers to the average beating of your heart. You can find how fast your heart is beating, that is your heart rate, by feeling your pulse. So we say this pulse rate is how you can see, or how you can test how your heart beat, or how times your heart is beating. That's why we call the pulse rate. We say by feeling your pulse, how to measure your pulse rate. Sit down comfortably on a chair with the palm of your hand facing upwards. So this is how you can test your pulse rate, or your beating heart rate. You say sit down means you sit on the chair comfortably with the palm of your hand facing upwards. Gently press the index and middle fingers of your other hand on your wrist. The diagram below, can you feel your pulse as repeatedly slow? If necessary, change the position of your finger until you can feel your pulse rate well. Count the number of heartbeats in 1 minute. Repeat the step 3 for 3 times. Write down the number of beats per minute. So this is this is the statement of explaining how you can measure the pulse rate, or the heart beating rate. Work out the average. This is what is called average heart rate per minute. Work out the average. This is what is called average heart rate per minute. It tells you how fast your heart is beating. So it is all about pulse rate. So pulse rate is that average that telling the beating of the heart per times or per minutes. Now let's see the last thing for the conduction of scientific process, which is experimentation. So this experimentation is another point, or is another thing which is important to be done. Experimentation, we say this is directly by doing practical. You practice directly. You see, you can measure, and then experimentation, you practice directly. So we say biology as a science subject involves practical work. In every area of biology, experimentation is necessary. So You can't say you are scientist without doing the experiment, because experimentation process is all about proving by practical. So this experimentation in biology, we say, as science subject, involves practical work in every area of biology. Experimentation is necessary. This is necessary. This is needed. It is required. However, there are several procedures to be followed in conducting any scientific investigation. There are some procedures to do the scientific investigation. These procedures include the following. These are the procedures which are needed for the scientific investigation, or for the doing experiment, or for the experimentation. So these are the procedures which should follow. First one is identification of a problem, or problem statement, or problem identification. So before, or you want to have the experiment, you want to having the solution of the matter what happened, you need first to identify the problem, identification of problem, or problem statement, or problem identification. Then we say in our day-to-day life often come across question or phenomena which require explanation, such as question or phenomena are of interest to be biologists who will seek to provide the answer to them. So in our life we live, there are many questions that people are being asked themselves, that will this happen, where the disease come from, where the malaria coming from. So those are the questions or phenomena which people having the question. So who can give the answers to them is one who call biologist or scientist. And what to do then must be doing the experimentation, or to do the scientific investigation. That's why you must do the experiment. And in doing the experiment, or in doing the so let's now see an example. We say, observed that the harvest of tomatoes in Juma's garden was low despite the frequent irrigation. Correct planting techniques, timely planting, and adequate sunlight. So what was the problem with the Juma's garden? So in the Juma's garden, everything was done. The irrigation and the sunlight, everything was here. But the garden was not harvested well, or was not giving the yields well. So what the problem having in the Juma's garden? So that is the question, or that is the matter. But there is solution that must be done. What to do so as to solve this problem to the Juma's garden? Let's see. We say this is a problem to be investigated by the biologist in order to come up with an answers. Yeah. So this problem to the Juma's garden means it need the solving to know why crops are not growing well, are not grown well. So this is the matter, and there is need of biological process, or there is need of scientific procedures, or biological process, or biological experimentation. That's why number 2 we say there is hypothesis formulation after identification of problem or problem identification, there is hypothesis formulation. Here you need to give them many ideas. What do you think this hypothesis? You formulate the tentative explanation for the observation made. After you go there to see, and after doing the observation, you need to have the hypothesis, or to formulate the tentative explanation for the observation made. We say, using your example of low yield in the tomato garden, the possible hypothesis could be poor yield could have been caused by low soil fertility, and there is application of the fertilizer could increase harvest of the tomatoes. So sometimes you can come up with a explanation that you think that this, in Juma's garden there is low yield in the tomato garden, in the tomato, because there is low soil fertility to the garden, or its soil is not fertile. So you must do what? You have to increase the fertilizer in the soil. So that are those which you can formulate the tentative explanation. It is all about that. And therefore application of the fertilizer could increase harvest of the tomatoes in the garden. These hypotheses must therefore be tested by experimentation if it has to be as scientifically acceptable explanation. So after making the explanation, or after making that hypothesis of formulated hypothesis or tentative explanation, must be done the experiment. You must having the experimentation to prove that explanation is real or not. So now let's come sit down. Let's come sit down with the experimentation. This is where we are going to prove if the hypothesis is true or is not true by doing practical or by doing experiment. We say an experiment is series of investigation intended to discover relationship or certain facts that may lead to finding problem. In the case of low harvest of tomatoes, you are first supposed to construct a plan of investigation as follows. So in experimentation, we say experiment is a series, means it is a sequence of investigation intended to discover relationship or certain facts that may lead to find a problem. So the facts that you are correcting can support to find the true solution or to find the true answers of that issue which is lead or which is seen to be difficult or which is seen to be a problem. So we say in the case of low harvest of tomatoes, you are first supposed to construct a plan of investigation as follows. First, select two plots A and B from the same garden and subject both of them to the same condition as before in plot B. Apply fertilizer, while in plot A don't put any fertilizer. So let's take the example to the Juma's garden that tomato does not yield well. You need to do the experiment after giving the hypothesis or tentative explanation that the soil has low fertility, or the soil, the low in the Juma's garden there is low of soil fertility. So what you need to do, you need to select two plots, plot A and plot B. From the same garden, you subject both of them to the same condition as before. In plot B, you apply fertilizer, and in plot A, you will not apply fertilizer. And then plot A will be your control. Observation and data recording after setting up an experiment. A researcher must observe and record the data. So after you're doing that plot A and plot B, you must to record everything you are doing for the experiment. And a researcher must observe and record the data, those which want to prove or to know the problem. So observation is done by using sense organs such as ears, eyes, nose, and skin. The researcher must record whatever he observes. So everything that you observe from the plot A and plot B, after giving the plot in the same garden, you must observe each and everything what you see. Okay, now so let's do the exercise here, and there are 3 questions. First, what is the measurement? Second, what is the scientific investigation? Third, mention 5 measurable quantities that you know. Thanks for learning together. Edukea, we are loving so much.